Let's take a look at the progress monitoring reports in mCLASS Home. We're joining Ms. Diaz's first grade class after they've been completing their progress monitoring. We're going to look at the progress monitoring report that goes from beginning of year to the middle of year. As she's moving along in her instruction, Ms. Diaz is probably progress monitoring every one of the students who are well below the benchmark or who are below the benchmark at a variety of intervals. And what she sees in this report is for each of the students where they were at the beginning of the year, their target at the middle of the year, if a goal was set that we'll talk about in a moment, their most recent progress monitoring scores, and a general view of trajectory of how they're moving towards the goal, whether it's the next benchmark or a goal that she set herself. If we click down to Emmy Brown, we can see her complete set of progress monitoring scores and graphs. As we scroll down, we can see that mCLASS had originally been recommending that Emmy be working on her phonemic awareness, and Ms. Diaz progress monitor her pretty frequently along the way since she was well below benchmark. As we notice here, the PSF progress monitoring stops. Let's go and explore why. Well, let's take a look at the scores. She was doing pretty well. Every time that we see a score, we can always bring up that probe of the progress monitoring measure itself and see the transcript. As we keep scrolling down, we notice that for NWF, for her letter sounds, mCLASS had shifted over at around October-ish to suggest that Emmy had done well enough on her PSF, which was running above the aim line, and to now shift her focus of attention to letter sounds. So here we see that Emmy continues to be progress monitored with letter sounds and is making steady progress towards the goal. When it comes to her decoding, we see that her words recoded correctly are also steadily growing towards the middle of the year goal. And again, we're able to take a look at how she's doing at the course of time with the transcripts. Now let's take a look at how Ms. Diaz can use the goal setting tools in mCLASS. So we're starting again on the progress monitoring and going to the goal setting tab and selecting the goals that go from the beginning of the year to the middle of the year in the zones of growth system. So as we go down the class list, we see that the starting point for everybody is the beginning of the year, and the zones of growth tool, or mCLASS, has now taken every child's score at each probe, compared it to a national sample in order to be able to understand what would be achievable and realistic goals that are also ambitious for every child in order to hit the benchmark. This will tell us what the rate of improvement is needed. So for example, Samir, we could see that he was really well below the benchmark and at significant reading risk at the beginning of the year. In fact, that was the case for every probe. He's going to need well above average growth during the first semester of school. And we could see that even with that level of growth, he's still probably not going to get to the benchmark in one term. That's okay. We're able to set for Ms. Diaz a clear understanding of what's really needed and that she should celebrate those outcomes. If we go down and we take a look at Emmy Brown, we'll see a bit of a similar story, right? At this point, we see that for each measure, does she need average, above average, well above average growth? What's the rate of improvement needed? And we see the predicted outcomes. Now, let's say Ms. Diaz wanted to set her own goal for phonemic awareness and only set something that was at average growth. She'd be able to do that, and it would put the targeted numeric information as to what goal was set right over here. Again, we probably don't want to do this for Emmy, given the fact that she also is well below. But if we take a look at a student like Noah Collins, who's running at the benchmark, here we can really see the kind of variety that there is, measure by measure for the instructional focus. How far do we really want to go? What is the rate of improvement needed on each measure? And as we could see, that for Noah to remain in the green, in the benchmark, he would need above average growth. If we wanted, we could select for some of these that we want to push even further to well above average growth. And again, we see that the numbers are there. And then in the end, if we actually did that, he would probably end up with well above average growth and still be pushing deeper and deeper into the benchmark territory. Let's see what we should set for the goals next. So we saw that Emmy really hit the goals at the middle of the year. What would her goal setting look like from middle of year to end of year? As we scroll down, we'll do it a little quickly. We can see that now Emmy's goals are that if she makes a rate of improvement of average in some of the skills and above average in word reading, she's going to be really, really successful. And by the end of the year, she'll be reading at grade level. So Ms. Diaz has a lot to celebrate from the first half of the year, some good work to do for the second half of the year, and we're hoping that Emmy's going to make it by the end.